You have debt right now. Maybe it is a credit card. Maybe it is a loan. Maybe it is just the quiet dread of an overdraft you have been avoiding thinking about. And everything you were ever taught told you the same thing. Debt is bad. Debt is dangerous. Debt is what happens when you live beyond your means. Get rid of it as fast as you can and never go back. But there is a room somewhere right now where someone worth 10 times your annual salary is sitting across from a banker. And they are not paying off debt. They are taking on more of it. Deliberately. Strategically. With a smile on their face. And the bank is happy to give it to them. This is not a coincidence. This is not luck. This is the part of the debt conversation nobody ever had with you. There are two kinds of debt. Nobody taught you this distinction, and it is costing you everything. The first kind is the debt you know. Credit cards, payday loans, buy now, pay later. Personal loans for things that are already gone. The holiday, the phone, the emergency you could not afford. This debt takes money from your future to pay for your past. Every month it demands a payment and gives you nothing back. Economists call this consumer debt. It consumes you. The second kind is the debt the wealthy use as a tool. It is called leverage. You borrow money not to spend it, but to acquire something that produces more money than the debt costs you. A property that generates rental income. A business asset that grows in value. An investment that returns more than the interest rate charges. The debt pays for itself and then some, and the asset remains. This is not theory. Researcher Thomas Stanley spent decades studying how real wealth is built in America. His findings were counterintuitive. The wealthiest individuals were not the ones who avoided debt entirely. They were the ones who understood which debt builds and which debt drains. The difference is not the debt. The difference is what the debt is attached to. When you borrow to consume, you are paying interest on something that has no future value. When you borrow to acquire an asset, you are using someone else's money to grow your own position. Think about the last time you went into debt. What did it buy you? Is that thing worth more or less today than the day you bought it? That answer tells you which side of the debt equation you have been living on. Now think about how a landlord buys a building. They do not save up the full purchase price. They borrow most of it. The tenant pays the mortgage. The building grows in value. The landlord ends up owning an asset worth far more than they ever personally invested. The bank's money built their wealth. This is leverage. This is what nobody told you. Researcher Darren Hardy documented this pattern across hundreds of wealth-building case studies. The consistent thread was not income level. It was not intelligence. It was the understanding that strategic debt is an accelerant, not a trap. But here is where it gets uncomfortable. The financial education most people receive is designed around one goal: keep you as a reliable consumer of debt products. Credit cards need you to carry a balance. Payday lenders need you to roll over. Car finance needs you to upgrade every 3 years. The entire consumer debt industry profits from the version of debt you were taught to use. Meanwhile, the version of debt that builds wealth requires assets to attach it to. And assets require capital to access. So the system self-selects. The people with capital use debt as a lever. The people without it use debt as a lifeline. And then the world says some people are just better with money. So what do you actually do with this? First, you stop treating all debt as the enemy. The question is never whether to use debt. The question is what the debt is attached to and whether that thing grows. Second, you begin aggressively eliminating consumer debt. Not because debt is evil, but because consumer debt is the version that only takes. Every dollar freed from a credit card payment is a dollar that can move toward leverage. Third, you educate yourself on what acquiring an asset actually looks like at your income level. It does not require millions. A small rental unit, a digital product, a micro business, something that returns more than it costs. Researcher Robert Kiyosaki built an entire framework on this single distinction. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take it out. The wealthy accumulate assets. Everyone else accumulates liabilities and calls them possessions. You were never told there were two kinds of debt. Now you know which one has been working against you. And now you know which one to use.